Shalom. Shalom, my brothers and sisters. This is Day by Day Reflections and Thoughts to Yashar'al, Nation of Believers. My name is Symmanayah, and if you're tuning in for the first time, you will come to know that Yashar'al, Nation of Believers, of whom I reference, are those who seek to worship and obey Almighty Yahuwah, the Ancient of Days, the beginning and the end. Those who come to accept Yahushua as Mashiach, our Messiah, who understand that it is Yahushua, that is Yahuwah's word manifest in the flesh. These are my brothers and sisters. This is my family of whom these messages are addressed. In this segment, today is October 6, 2013. In this segment, I want to address ignored triggers. Ignored triggers. Points of action. Who is able to discern what makes them act? My brothers and sisters, function defines an anticipated or expected action, like worship and obedience, for example. The original Hebrew scriptures were written in pictures and symbols for the purpose of igniting function, true worship and obedience. They were presented with us to depend on the Spirit of the Most High to make those pictures and symbols alive so that we're able to understand what we must do. For some reason, these original writings have been hidden or lost over the ages. What man has been unsuccessful in accomplishing is to hide the living messages from the Almighty Father, Yahuwah. In other words, over time, man has introduced translations in different languages and infected it with pagan words and terms. Men have done much to try to hide the true message from the Most High. One of the biggest distractions we see is in our language, in our writings. But the Most High Father, the Almighty, through His living Spirit, His messages have been brought to us and made alive. Yes, my brothers and sisters, the original Hebrew language was for the purpose of righteous functions, and it is through establishing a living relationship that we come to know and hear Him through the written word. Diverse words are merely form, vanity, a matter of preference, and all too often causes one to miss the seed in or purpose of the intended message. Our languages is filled with so much form and vanity, so much alluring and tinkling terms. But one thing that have never changed, my brothers and sisters, and that is the Almighty Father. His message has been the same, is still the same, and will continue to be the same. It behooves us, it would be to our best interest to get to know His living voice in our spirit and be able to discern and understand what is meant for us to receive. Over the years, many people are discovering the pagan infections placed in various translations of scriptures, most of which were attempt to hide the Almighty Father's name, Yahuwah, and the sacrificed Son, Yahushua, who is actually the Word of Yahuwah made flesh. Back to the matter of form, the dressing up or use of diverse words to convey a message. All too often, we consume time debating, arguing, or even trying to reason over different words. What's the right word to say? Yes, through form, with the living guidance of the set-apart Spirit of the Almighty Father Yahuwah, sent in Yahushua's name, through form, we're able to get through to the seed of a matter. We're able to discover its true function by the set-apart Spirit of Yahushua. So form can become alive through discernment and discernment alone. Given all that said, I've chosen to center this segment around the word triggers. And in the singular form, these are some words that could substitute the word trigger. Activate, set off, cause, generate, to start, prompt, to elicit, produce, initiate, to spark. Some definitions of trigger: a small projecting tongue in a firearm. When pressed by the finger, actuate the mechanism that discharges the weapon. A device as a lever, the pulling or pressing of which releases a detent or spring. And here's one. To initiate or precipitate a reaction, a process, or a chain of events. How many of us have succumbed to erroneous behavior or said the wrong thing that initiated a reaction or caused a chain of events that could not be retracted? Another definition, to become active or activate. You see, my brothers and sisters, it is important that we are careful of what we say and what we do. It is important that we speak with precision, for all too often it can cause a chain of events or a ripple effect, sometimes to the magnitude that we are unaware. I honestly believe some words will get a person's attention more than others. The challenge is discerning which word is getting our attention and why. What is the purpose? What is the intent? What is the expected outcome? I have presented substitution words and examples of the definition of the word trigger. Let's see if we can establish a connection in our walk with the Most High Father as guided by His set-apart Spirit. Yahushua. We have entered into a season where many are coming into the truth. We are witnessing individuals express their discoveries with anger, excitement, overzealousness, over-eagerness, disappointment, over anxiousness, and a host of other emotions, just to say the least. In our shock, many have ran past us that it was the set-apart Spirit of Yahushua that opened our eyes, ears to the truth. In other words, we took off. We discerned part, we understood part, and we ran, many with a mission to tell others before we were fully grounded or rooted as to what occurred. What I have witnessed was akin to a trigger being pulled and the action was out of the gate per se with little chances to pull back. In other words, what I'm saying here is that we started opening our mouths prematurely, not being fully grounded or rooted. As a result, we contributed to false triggers, erroneous triggers by overstepping our boundaries, by communicating prematurely regarding the delivery of righteous messages. In other words, family, so many have jumped out there trying to teach and inform others that it has produced a widespread of erroneous teachings. Did you know that when scriptures are made alive, we can receive much more than what the text, a letter states? Did you know that we were given a blueprint to follow? Once we discovered the truth, yes, we were given a blueprint to which, if followed, would be and can be and does present a wise way to manage these earthen vessels through the righteous and living guidance of the living Spirit of Yahushua. I have presented that blueprint in previous recordings. It is also on my website under Seeds of Instruction at www.yazwatchmen.net. That blueprint is embedded in the feast, my brothers and sisters. The Passover. It's embedded in unleavened bread. There's an embedded message in first fruits and harvest. Yes, my brothers and sisters, there's an embedded fruit and trumpets, atonement, tabernacle. Examine the blueprint, my brothers and sisters, and you will see that there is a message that could pass from generation forever, whether in captivity or not. A blueprint in which we could walk more wisely in these tabernacles. Getting back to triggers, as we begin to grow in discernment, many discoveries are made, and we attempt to pass these on to others with the expectation of getting a fruitful response or action. In other words, we think by just telling people, sharing people, proving to people by pointing to scripture, quote unquote. We believe that that will do the trick. That is far from the truth. It is the Spirit of Yahushua that will make all words alive. There are some who will try too hard to convince and even convict people into responding favorably to their shared discoveries. Some of us try so hard that we miss the fact that our discoveries were made possible. Our experience in discernment came from the Spirit, the set-apart Spirit that the Almighty Father sent in Yahushua's name, the Spirit of Yahushua. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we tend to ignore the most valuable ingredient to our discoveries. We tend to leave Yahushua's spirit behind and try to convince others that we have discovered all that is righteous, unknowingly leaving out what it takes to make alive righteous words. It is Yahushua that brings discernment. Therefore, when we step outside of that, we think we have what it takes to create discernment. I'm here to say we do not. Pause or rewind what I just said, for all too often communications can be skewed when we fail to listen with precision. Precise communication is important, my brothers and sisters. Remember, what we say can sometimes trigger a chain of events. I've grown to trust that the Most High's word in Isaiah 55:11 brings much comfort. Why? Because if our words are righteous, then they could have only come from the Almighty Father, and through His set-apart Spirit, Yahushua, we come to know that righteous words will return to the Father successful. They will perform, they have, and they will continue to perform successfully and never return to the Father void. Therefore, I seek to speak as compelled or influenced by the set-apart Spirit that the Almighty Father sent in Yahushua's name. Words and their messages that are righteous will perform the task that they were designed to accomplish and do so with success. Thus, the Most High's word will never return to Him empty. If anything I say does not reflect my obedience to the Most High Father through the set-apart Spirit of Yahushua, then we know they will not be successful. If my words are true, they will perform. There is comfort knowing that even in my mistakes, that does not stop righteous words from reaching the ears of those who they are designed to rest on. Brothers and sisters, instead of trying to be triggers to another's action, it would be wise to seek earnestly to worship and obey. Let us seek to identify the voice, the living guidance of the Spirit of Yahushua. By discerning the living instructions and guidance, we can come to witness the righteousness in us towards one another, produce the life or trigger in another's discovery. We can witness being used as the arm of the Spirit of Yahushua to bring about discernment or discoveries to our brothers and sisters. We are not Elohim Yahuwah. We are not the sovereign of Yashar'al Yahushua. Let us be as pieces to the Almighty Father's puzzle. As it is stated, we are many members, but one body. And let us watch in our obedience. Let us watch Him trigger righteous actions. Whether it be Him using us or Him, His Spirit, reaching out and speaking to us one to another. Yes, my brothers and sisters, it would be wise for us to come to know how these actions come to be. There are many triggers that go undetected, and thus we fail to discern their origins and might just respond without examination or absent of discerning who's presenting these influences. In other words, my brothers, let's pray. Let's be prayerful at all times and ask the question, who is it that is influencing my words? Who is it that is causing me to present something that may trigger a chain of events? No matter how much emotions and no matter how strong our attitudes, if they are not led by the set-apart Spirit that the Almighty Father sent in Yahushua's name, then we are trying to fabricate righteous triggers, and this is far from being obedient. We have seen it, brothers. We've seen brothers and sisters who think that by their words alone, people will act or become righteous. We've witnessed brothers who say, I can prove it to you, void of understanding that it is the Spirit that makes alive. It is the Spirit that brings the proof. We have also been informed that in times past, man's wickedness, due to their attempt to master triggers, resulted in evil. In other words, self-produced triggers were created, resulting in much wickedness in the display of erroneous triggers. As a result of self-produced triggers, we are able to search the scriptures and see what made the Most High flood the earth and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah because of such wickedness. It's a terrible thing to tempt the Most High. It's a terrible thing to mess with the menacing triggers that fuel unrighteousness. Let us instead seek out the Father, seek to be obedient, seek to worship Him, seek His righteous triggers, and respond accordingly. Let us come to realize we serve a living Elohim, Yahuwah. Let us come to realize that our sovereign Yahusha, who is our Mashiach, our Messiah, is alive and functioning. Let us open our ears and eyes. Let us establish a ready mind to follow the set-apart spirit that the Almighty Father Yahuwah sent in Yahusha's name. Let us come to realize we have a living relationship with Him and that we will be perfected as His people according to His promises. Living instructions, reproof, discipline, judgment, and wrath will be witnessed. The face of such will come with righteous triggers that will ignite the actions that are ordered by the Most High. The actions can only be defined as being ignited by righteous triggers if and only if they can be confirmed by the living words of the Spirit of Yahushua. Actions that draw us closer to the Most High Father, actions of worship and obedience that result in lifting up Yahushua can truly be products of righteous triggers. I realize we have grown to desire scriptures. We have grown to want to hear scriptures, listen, and or read more scriptures. Let's see if any of the scriptures are a product of triggers. Let's examine the text, the letter, and pray for discernment to witness the text or the letter actually come alive. Let's read some scriptures of example of some triggers. Genesis 6 chapter verses 5 through 8. And Yahuwah saw the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually. And Yahuwah was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. And Yahuwah said, I am going to wipe off man, whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping creature, birds of the heavens, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found favor in the eyes of Yahuwah. If you examine it, you'll see two things happen, my brothers. Man's wickedness triggered a response from the Almighty Father that led to the great flood. Noah's actions triggered favor in the eyes of Yahuwah, our Almighty Father. So we saw destruction to many, and we witnessed the salvation or a family being saved. Who was able to discern the extent of man's evil which led to the Most High Father causing the flood? I submit to you that there were actions of wickedness. There was a degree of wickedness that triggered destruction that resulted in this flood. I also want you to be mindful there was something that Noah did that triggered favor with the Most High. Genesis 18:20, and Yahuwah said, because the outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is great, and because their sin is very heavy. Who is able to measure the degree of great or what is very heavy regarding the wickedness from Sodom and Gomorrah? What was the magnitude of their sin that triggered their demise? Who can describe what great and a very heavy means? Do you think if they knew, those that were in Sodom and Gomorrah that were not saved, if they knew they were on the brink of causing their own demise, their own destruction, do you think that they would have continued in their sins? Hindsight is a terrible thing in the wake of wrath and destruction, especially if you are one of those who are in the path of such. We have entered into the last days. End times are here. Will we be at those on the receiving end of destruction? Those who were killed? Will we be like those who were killed in the days of Noah or Lot? Or will we be true worshipers, true servants, seeking to obey the Most High? Keep in mind, Lot and his family were saved. They did something to trigger favor with the Most High Father that led to their safety. Exodus 33:17 says, and Yahuwah said to Moshe, even this word you have spoken I shall do, for you have found favor in my eyes, and I know you by name. Here we see in Scripture where Moshe did something to find favor with the Most High that triggered favor with the Most High. Did he not? Romans 8:14 says, for as many as led by the Spirit of Elohim, These are the sons of Elohim. To be led, there is something that triggers us, that triggers an action for us to respond to his spirit, such that the product is us being led by him. Triggers. There are righteous triggers, my brothers. Isaiah 58:11 said, Then Yahuwah would guide you continually and satisfy your being in drought and strengthen your bones, and you shall be like a watered garden and like a spring of water whose water do not fail. Notice that it said, Yahuwah will guide you continually. You see, it is the Almighty Father that knows, that has his hand on righteous triggers that bring about a result where we are led, where we receive guidance according to his direction. John 16:13 reads, But when he comes, the Spirit of truth, he shall guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak for himself, but whatever he hears he shall speak, and he shall announce to you what is to come. Spirit of truth that will guide us. And we read in 14:26, all too often I talk about it, how the Spirit of truth was sent by the Father in Yahushua's name. How many of us have come to know that in order to be led, influenced by righteousness, there must be an encounter that causes us to act? This encounter is the trigger, a righteous influence which originates from the Most High Father. If we examine an unrighteous trigger, like what happened in the Garden of Eden, for example, Genesis 3rd chapter, verses 1 through 6, if you read that, you will come to see how the serpent beguiled Eve or Hawa, how he deceived her, and how she was used to deceive her husband. And we know what the outcome was regarding this. So you see, my brothers and sisters, there were unrighteous triggers. Unrighteous triggers presented the result that produced broken fellowship with man and the Most High Father. But hallelujah, the Father had a plan and has a plan, and it is unfolding before our very eyes. That plan entailed the restoration of fellowship with him through Yahushua HaMashiach, regeneration through the atoning power of his shed blood and his resurrected life. Yes, my brothers and sisters, let us come to know that the Father had a plan and continues executing that plan. Let us be mindful. There are righteous triggers, there are unrighteous triggers. How many of us have ever given thought to whether or not our words are led by he who knows all, he who knows the right buttons or triggers for activating righteous actions? How many of us have given thought or prayed to discern and understand who is it that is influencing our words? Most of us know what happened as a result of falling victim to unrighteous influence. Evil triggers, like in the story of the garden. How many of us have ever given thought to whether or not our words are led by he who knows all? My brothers, it would be wise to come to know that if we fall victim to the enemy and push the wrong buttons per se, our brothers and sisters, then we become evil triggers for their actions. Yes, we allowed ourselves to be used by the wrong spirit. Let us come to know what it is that can trigger, that can cause our actions to be as they are. It would be wise to quit taking what we may believe to be the simplest of behaviors for granted. Everything that we do has the possibility of affecting others. You have heard or experienced how even babies who watch the simplest things will attempt to mimic or copy what they see their parents or guardians doing. We have witnessed fads and trends spring up where people are motivated, influenced, and participate in such. We should not allow ourselves to be used as wicked triggers, my brothers. We should not allow ourselves to be influenced by wickedness. Let us not influence the actions of others erroneously. Do you know when we fail to execute right rulings among one another, when we patronize one another, just patting each other on the back erroneously, just to feel good or just to be friends? When we do that, we contribute to evil triggers We are to be as iron sharpening iron, my brothers and sisters. We are to be as one encouraging another for the sake of building up this body of believers who seek to worship and obey. My brothers and sisters, my family, there's much work to be done in these last days. There's much work to be done in this body of one. Those who seek to worship and obey the Most High Father Yahuwah will come to know that we have a responsibility. We have tasks to perform. The set-apart spirit he sent in Yahushua's name will teach us, guide us, instruct us, and bring things to remembrance. Living instructions and guidance is before us. Let us come to discern righteous triggers and act as directed by his righteous orders. Obstacles will be removed and nothing can stop what is over the horizon. Yes, my brothers and sisters, humbling events are coming of which no man, woman, or child can prevent from coming to be. I encourage each of us to stop attempting to help the Most High Father and begin learning his voice, the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua, and grow in obedience to him. Let us learn how to be precise in responding to his guidance, his instructions. I pray, my brothers, my sisters, I pray we begin to understand the importance of precise communications and respond with accuracy as guided by the Spirit of Yahushua. I pray, my brothers and sisters, that we're able to discern and understand all that is righteous, that is presented before us, that we're able to get through and make the right decisions. Yes, hard choices, tough decisions are before us. We are in the end times. Yashar'al will be gathered, my brothers and sisters. Pray and watch. Pray to discern. Pray to discern if a donkey's mouth is being opened, if the stones are crying out. Pray to discern if the Spirit of Yahushua is using us one towards another. Pray to discern and understand and respond. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, my family, know this: the Almighty Father will fulfill all of his promises to us. Yahushua, our Mashiach, our Messiah, sovereign of Yashar'al, comes, and I hear within my spirit, I hear him saying, I come for you, Yashar'al, I come for you. And he's coming sooner than most of us realize. Choose which direction you will turn. Choose wisely who you will hear. Until next time, my family, my brothers, my sisters, Shalom. Remember the triggers. Pray to discern the difference. Let us come to be aware of the ignored triggers. Until next time, my family, Shalom. Shalom, shalom.